Let's start with Texas. You know, we've seen several big companies moving there. You've got Charles Schwab now, Goldman expanding its footprint. What other big name companies are you courting right now? And have you approached the Chicago Mercantile Exchange?
So I actually have approached the CME in Chicago, and there's some businesses like that in Chicago that, listen, they're fed up of doing business in Chicago. They're looking for a more attractive place. Texas is that place. This past year, Texas became home to more Fortune 500 company headquarters than any other state in the United States. And it's more than just Schwab and Goldman. It's a well-diversified portfolio of businesses that are moving there and growing there. Texas led the nation this last year with adding 450,000 new residents. Some are businesses, some are individuals. Texas is growing fast. Our economy is the best in the nation. We added more jobs last year than any other state in the entire country.
Any specific companies that you're close to a deal with that you feel comfortable you can say, okay, we've got a good lead on them, we think they're coming?
I can say this, and that is Texas ranks #1 for economic development projects, and we have more than 300 projects in our pipeline. Can't tell you what they are right now. Just know there will be plenty of announcements coming soon.
You know, some view Texas social policies as very controversial, including its near abortion ban. Have you had any companies tell you point blank, we're not coming, and some of our employees don't want to be there because of that?
No one is raising any concerns about any policies in the state of Texas. The opposite is really true. The opposite is the people that are coming there, the businesses that are moving there, say that the quality of life is far better. In fact, there was a recent report that came out of the Dallas Federal Reserve Office saying that people are purposefully choosing to move to the state of Texas because the quality of life is better in the state of Texas.
So you're not one company has said to you, this concerns us?
None at all. And to the opposite, we have more companies moving to Texas now than ever before.
I want to return to the migrants here in New York City. Mayor Adams has repeatedly warned of rising costs to house and to care for them. Was your intention in starting Operation Lone Star to get Democratic cities like New York and the federal government to do something to put pressure on them with the border? Like, what's the end game here?
So that was not the intention at all. The beginning game was to relieve the burden that was placed on small Texas towns on the border. Eagle Pass, population 28,000. This past week, they had 10,000 migrants come into their town. 1/3 of the population of Eagle Pass was occupied by migrants. And then Del Rio, et cetera. And then working with them, they said, listen, we need help. And that's what led to the busing operations to Washington, D.C., New York, Chicago, L.A., and elsewhere.
But you specifically targeted Democratic cities. We don't see them going frequently to very red cities in red states. You specifically targeted them.
Well, what we did, first of all, before anybody gets on a bus and goes anywhere, they go voluntarily. They self-identify what city they want to go to. So New York is purposefully chosen by the migrants as a location to go to, point one. But point two, the only place that they are typically going to are cities that self-identify as sanctuary cities, which may be one of the reasons why some of the migrants choose to go there.
So you're saying these migrants come off the bus and say, take me to New York? Or are they given an option of Democratic blue or cities?
They are given an option about anywhere they want to go. And the #1 choice of where they wanted to go was New York City.
So they're not given a list of 7, 8 cities?
They're not given specific lists. They were given opportunities. Tell us where you want to go. And they choose New York, Chicago, and other large cities that they've heard of before, or they may have family contacts in.
So are there buses then going to cities that we don't know of, like Miami or in redder states?
So right now there may not be, but because of the increase in the number of people coming across the border, there likely will be new destinations that people will be going to in buses.
And those will include red cities and red states?
We'll see. It depends on where the migrants choose.
You do say you blame President Biden for the current border situation. You've said that. You said his policies. Isn't there blame to go around, though, when you look at former presidents haven't solved this border crisis? Congress hasn't solved this border crisis, Republican and Democrat.
To be clear, all the laws that are needed are already in place. That was proven by President Trump. 3 years ago, when Trump was still president, we had the lowest illegal border crossings in 40 years. He had the Remain in Mexico policy, the Title 42 policy, the end of catch and release and building the border wall. When Biden was elected president, he eliminated all of those policies and sent a message to the entire world, the border is open, and he was not going to do anything to stop people from crossing the border illegally. All of what we are dealing with, whether it be in Texas or in New York, is a result of Joe Biden's open border policies. And I need to add this to be clear to your audience, and that is, of all the migrants in New York City, Texas bused only about 10% of the people here. Joe Biden sent the rest of them here.
So, President Biden, while you say he is saying that it's open border policies, he has never said the words, the border is open. And again, do you think there's enough, blame to go around between Congress?
To be clear, what he has said is, you come here illegally, we're not going to send you back. That is messaging of open border policies. He has provided the magnet for people to come here, which is the opposite of what Trump did. Trump sent a message that if you come here, we're going to send you back. If you try to come here, you're going to have to remain in Mexico. Because Joe Biden eliminated all of that, he said, basically, the border's open, we're going to do nothing to stop you. Julie, it gets worse. This was visual on TVs across the country. Texas erected razor wire concertina barriers preventing migrants from entering Texas illegally. Joe Biden's Border Patrol went and cut those wires, pulled them apart, opened them up, allowing thousands of migrants to enter Texas illegally.
But when you talk about, you get to the buoys and you get to the barbed wire, I mean, is that a humane way to treat people?
So first of all, the buoys have never harmed anybody. They were built in a way to ensure they don't harm anybody. What the wires do, they repel people from entering and discourage them from entering.
When we've talked a little bit about the former president, Senator Cornyn has said Republicans should look for another candidate because he doesn't believe that former president can win. Do you agree? And I know you haven't endorsed in the primary. Will you?
So, yeah, I will be endorsing in the primary at the right time. That said, I think that any Republican can beat Joe Biden. Joe Biden is more underwater than any president in American history. He is disfavored even by people in the Democrat Party and by independents and, of course, Republicans. They're angry about what's going on the border. They're equally angry about the inflation caused by the Biden administration policies. Biden economics is disfavored in the United States. Look at the average American and the way their pocketbook has been impacted, and they are rightfully angry at Joe Biden's policies.
Are we getting the World Cup in Texas?
I was at a Dallas Cowboy football game when they played the Jets a couple of weeks ago, and I met with leaders of FIFA that will be making the decision about the World Cup. And I explained to them why Dallas is the best location to have the World Cup finals played there. What they really want to achieve, they want to connect Americans in the middle of America with the game of soccer. There's no better location than the Dallas Cowboy football stadium that connects with all Americans to be the platform for the World Cup. Hopefully they agree.